Your plan is to take the tax rate on successful small businesses from 35% to 40%. The National Federation of Independent Businesses has said that will cost 700,000 jobs. I don't want to cost jobs. My priority is jobs.
That was a moment in the debate last night, on Wednesday night, that almost made me climb out of my chair, because this has become commonplace in the election. Scott Brown has cited studies by the National Federation of Independent Business. And what could possibly be more independent than a federation of businesses that then themselves are independent? Right. But the National Federation of Independent is essentially a right-wing interest group that is out there to, destroy Democrats at every opportunity. I don't think I'm overstating things when I say that. They have a very... It would be like me getting up here and be like, well, the Occupy Wall Street Working Group has come up with a study saying that, it's just not an independent source in any way.
It's akin to someone from the Tea Party saying, you know what, these folks just don't hate Obama enough.
Right.
Because NFIB split from the U.S. Chamber of Commerce years ago. It's the baby brother of the U.S. Chamber of Commerce.
And the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, we should say, has been incredibly opposed to things like the Affordable Care Act and others, and has fought the Obama tooth and nail. But the National Federation of Independent Businesses split off because they thought the Chamber of Commerce was too soft.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. So that's
and on a more basic level, too. I mean, they oppose regulations of virtually every kind. They oppose affirmative action. Which, interesting because elite organizations, corporations...
have all filed amicus and
exactly.
Fisher,
Universities all support these things as necessary things for a diverse and highly competent workforce for the 21st century. So NFIB is radical. So anytime anyone references that, it's a red flag.
Here's the irony. If you forget all the complicated and misleading statistics and just talk to actual small business owners, and you say, what do you need? You want a marginal tax cut of 5%? Almost every small business owner will tell you, in my judgment, that their biggest issue is access to capital. How do they get loans? How do they survive the valley of death? And the biggest place where you can help them is the Small Business Administration, which is providing these loans. Right. 3 of the people who spoke at the Republican convention, quote-unquote, small business owners championing them, received loans from the SBA.
That's really true.
And that's where the president, he's increased the loans that the SBA is providing. He increased the limit from $2 million to $5 million for the loans available. He said you could have venture-backed companies that get loans. So let's have a real debate.
So there have been they've expanded the category of enterprises and the amount of loans that you can get from the SBA.
That's true. And,
absolutely.
And the SBA works with our local banks, and the smaller the bank, the better. But, I think that the whole debate on small business is really a metaphor for the big bad government. Democrats always have a burden of trying to convince people that what we're trying to do actually can be in partnership with creating jobs and helping business. But to the extent that their government is right now in the debate, it's the enemy. So when we talk about small business, it's trying to provide some reassurance. I think that's what President Obama is trying to do, that, hey, we hear you. We want to be your partner. When they talk about small business, it's trying to peg us as the ones who are the enemy.
Right.
JJ, do you agree with what Ro just said about what small business? You spend all your time basically talking to small business owners, and when we say small business, I should because the category is so murky. I mean, I watch your show, and I have a retail shop, and I have 7 employees.
Right. We do not deal with the 499 employees.
Right. Exactly.
Access to capital is definitely an issue. I don't find it as the biggest issue. I think. I mean, the NFIB does say this, and in my experience, I agree with it, which is getting customers is a bigger issue. And a lot of people aren't going out to try and get loans because they're not certain they're going to be able to pay them back. Right. But I do think access to capital is big. The SBA definitely has increased the number of loans, but there are also a lot of issues with banks being able to actually lend money to small business owners. That is still an issue.
Chris.
So here's the thing. SBA doesn't give money. It just guarantees loans. Right. So you still have to go to your local bank in order to qualify. But there are a ton of business owners, as you well know, who don't have the collateral, don't have good credit to get a bank and then go to get a bank loan and then get a guarantee from SBA.
And talking about regulations, there are some regulatory issues that are making it harder for banks to loan.
But let me ask, can I ask this question before it's like, okay, why should I care? If we all presume that helping small business is an obvious policy goal, right? The government should be doing things to help small businesses. And you just touted the Small Business Administration. Well, look, we don't have those subsidies for other kinds of loans. I mean, we do for student loans and other things. Why once we get our hands around the definition of small business, what is special about small business that we should be concerned with its survival either way?
All right. So most businesses are geographically small. They're small scale in terms of the number of people they employ and also their range of services and products. So they are often neighborhood, maybe town, city-based businesses. So if they're going to employ people, they're going to employ people from their local economy, and that is inherently good, right? It doesn't matter if you have somebody who's coming in and brings in a business and it hires everyone from outside. I'm not even talking about outsourcing. I'm talking about the suburbs versus inner city Philadelphia. When I'm concerned about businesses coming into my city, right, I'm interested that they employ ideally people who are chronically underemployed or unemployed.
Right.
That will be the biggest bang for the buck. If we want to have a real policy to help businesses, it should be ones that target areas where you have the greatest distress in terms of economic, social issues.
Ro, I want to hear your thoughts on this. Just quickly going to take a quick break.